Almost every single nonprofit leader I talk to right now is somewhere across the spectrum for AI. Either you haven't touched it yet and you don't want to, or it's your best friend and you're using it every single day. It's your right hand. Now, here's what's interesting. It's making some people's fundraising sharper, and for some, it's making others just totally generic. The difference isn't the tool, right? Whether you're using Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or something else, it's how you're using it. So today I want to talk about what that gap looks like and what's possible when you get this right. Now, AI is moving faster than I think any of us can keep up with. So let's kind of check in with our sector. Where does everyone actually stand right now? So most organizations are in this early experimentation mode, and that's really normal. That's where you're supposed to be. So if you're on the spectrum of just like, I haven't even tried it yet, hopefully this episode will give you a little bit of a nudge to dip your toe in. And if you're on the spectrum where you're like, Christina, it is my right hand. I know everything there is to know about AI. I use it all the time. It's on my phone, it's on my computer. I love it. Then this may be the kick in the pants you need to kind of refine and right side your relationship with the tool. So here's the data that is more interesting than the headlines. 78% of nonprofits use generative AI in their programs. This is back from M&R benchmarks in 2025. So 78% of nonprofits, that's significant. 42% though have guidelines on actually how to use it. So if you're in that 42%, welcome. It may be time to have some guidelines on how your organization uses AI. 63% of fundraisers are unsure about using AI for donor communications, and many are worried it feels impersonal. We're going to dig into that today. And 67% of donors say nonprofits should be using AI for fundraising. That's pretty significant. So your donors aren't scared of AI. And let's be frank, like most of them are using it too day to day in some way, shape, or form. Even on Google now, you've probably had it happen like I have, where particularly on my phone, if I'm Googling something now, Gemini will just pop up and there's the AI bot. So if I'm asking for the name of a restaurant I can't seem to remember, it's going to start like a thread with me. And I sort of have to exit out that thread if I don't want it. So it may be there even if you don't realize it. So let's dig into the belief that a lot of leaders, marketers, and fundraisers are quietly holding when it comes to email and AI. You're thinking, if I use AI, it'll save me time. And let's be honest, the emails will probably be fine. I can write them a lot faster than I can. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm so tired of writing emails. And honestly, that's a really reasonable, makes a lot of sense place to start. But fine isn't the same as fully funded. And the gap is worth closing. So that's what we're going to dig into is, are you using AI to write your emails, or are you using AI in the way that our clients are using it to help you shape and become a thought partner with your email? So here's the shift that I want you to make when you're thinking about AI. AI right now, because in a lot of ways, it's sort of this behemoth. We can't really totally wrap our heads around of what it is capable of. I went to a conference earlier this year that is a for-profit tech conference, and the capabilities of AI in media are wild. Like to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, like this is, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know if I can wrap my head around how I even feel about this. So it's so ominous. It's so big that I've watched some people think like almost, I don't think you're thinking it consciously, but like AI knows best. Because yes, it is crawling and using information from everywhere. It is pulling data, pulling sources, pulling thoughts, pulling opinions, and telling you this is the best. But the belief AI knows best isn't true. And especially for you and your mission and your people and your organization and your donors, it barely knows you. Depending on what you've even given it, it might know you, not even know you at all. And yet, what organizations are doing are taking the first draft or second draft that AI is writing for your emails and treating it like it's the final answer. It's the boss. So, if there's one thing you get out of today, I hope it's this: you are still the one in charge of your message. AI is not a self-driving car. You shouldn't fall asleep at the wheel of your fundraising. GPS is the same thing. GPS gets you somewhere faster, but it can't decide where you're going. So I want you to make this shift. Treat AI as GPS. It's going to help you get there faster. It's going to tell you, ooh, there's a little bit of a traffic delay here, or they're doing construction here. Go this way. You're going to get to your destination quicker, but not let me go sit in the passenger seat and y'all just figure it out. You just take me there. Because if you put in the wrong destination, it'll get you there quickly. But what will happen is you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. So what is using AI well, productively, profitably actually look like? So here's what I want you to use it for. Here's what our clients are using it for inside the club, inside the sprint method. We have AI coaches. So we have them trained inside of my IP, my blueprints, my curriculum. So you can expand on an idea from multiple angles. Great for generating subject lines in 30 seconds. If you do not think like a copywriter, beautiful. AI can be that copywriter thought partner for you. But much like if I hire a copywriter in my business, and this may be one of the best copywriters there is in the sector, the #1 Forbes winning copywriter, when they give me back their first draft, let's say I hire a copywriter for my website. No doubt I will go through that copy and I will have edits, as I should. I will go, that's not the direction we're going in. That was how we thought 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Nope, we don't do it that way. We don't say it this way. That should be how you exchange. So generating subject lines very quickly, mapping out a sequence of emails. So let's say you're running a sprint campaign. We just got through our sprint launch and it was incredible. Incredible. We welcomed so many organizations inside the sprint method. And as you're building out your sprint campaigns, you could use AI, you could use our AI sprint coach to help you build out the sequence of emails, not exactly what's in them, but when you're sending them, how often, how the spacing, mapping that sequence. Same thing in the club. A lot of our teams are using this inside the club in a similar way, pushing your thinking deeper into a story. This is one of my favorite ways to use it. I may have a concept for a podcast, for a webinar, for a talk, for a teaching inside the club. And I will say, ooh, this just dropped in. And I will write it down in my notes app and I will save it. And I'm like, okay, I wanna have a thought partner for this concept. Ask me some questions. So I'll ask AI to ask me questions. So it is asking me questions very similar to a coach might do, or even a therapist. Like, tell me more about that. And so I'm giving it my ideas, my IP, and it's helping construct that into content. Do you see the difference versus me going, what do you think I should say, chat? I got nothing to say today, Claude. Help me write something. There's a very different dynamic there. Pushing you into a deeper story, testing different tones and structures. So if you find yourself maybe leaning a little sterile, a little ominous in your brand voice, you can say to AI, does it sound a little formulaic and sterile? And it can help answer that very quickly instead of sending it off to another staffer and waiting for 3 days for them to get back to you. Here's what you shouldn't use it for: deciding your core message, writing the first draft from nothing, replacing your point of view. This is really, really important because nonprofits have a history of having very vanilla, very sterile emails. And what I don't want you to do is go from having very vanilla, sterile emails that you wrote yourself or your executive director writes, and then using AI to then write more vanilla, sterile emails that sound, again, like any organization, any town, anywhere across the world. Replacing that point of view, really important. Choosing what matters most. This is a big one. Oftentimes, AI may, let's say you're writing an email and there's a couple of different story points you want to make. Maybe there's a testimonial or a stat, and you're putting that into chat and it spits you out an email. And what you can see here is sort of the least important thing to your donors is what it puts first. Again, it doesn't know you. It doesn't know you. So you get to say, ooh, we're actually not going to lead with that. We're going to lead with this. So here's an important distinction. AI mirrors what you give it. So if you bring it a strong point of view, it's going to help iterate and make that point of view sharper, faster. If you bring it nothing or not much of anything, it's going to fill in gaps with something that sounds like everyone else. So we don't want to be stuck in that cycle. And that's why I can spot an AI written email almost immediately nowadays. We'll talk about that in a minute of what those look like. So the leaders that are getting results are the ones who show up to the conversation already knowing what they want to say, or at least the skeleton of what they want to say, or they're ready to use it as a thought partner on what they wanted to say. Now, I want you to think about this stat: 202%. Personalized calls to action convert 202% better than generic ones. AI can help you get there, but only if you bring it the personalization. It can't invent what it doesn't know. So again, it can't get personal about a topic, an audience, a mission that it doesn't personally know and you haven't given it information to personally know. So let's talk about those AI written emails in the wild. It is two things that I see. One is the structure, the design, and two are the actual copy and the words. Those are 2 points where I'm like, ooh, they just threw this over the wall to chat. They just threw this over the wall to Gemini to just write. It's a little too perfect, a little too overly spaced, a little too overly emojied, a little too, over polished in tone, and nothing really risky, nothing really pushing the envelope. Versus what I do instead, having that one micro moment. We talk a lot about this inside my course, Easy Emails for Impact. We talk about these micro moments, these fly on the wall moments. Y'all, this is such a blue ocean opportunity for nonprofits. We are so ready for you to invite us into the truth, to the most authentic story you've ever told for your organization. And it's right there for the taking, for you to have that relationship with me. I can think of just a handful of organizations that do this really well, where you're cutting the fluff, you're cutting the nonprofit buzzword speak. You have a clear ask, a clear, compelling fundraising ask. You are not apologetic in your fundraising. You're repeating the message. So if you're stuck over here with that sort of perfect, generic, overly polished, it may look good design-wise. It may read fine. Grammarly is like 2 thumbs up and it raises nothing. It raises nothing. So if you're like, I don't have time to edit the AI output. The whole point, Christina, was that I could have some help in the organization and I don't have time to go back and forth with AI. So I want you to think about it this way. Editing is faster than writing from scratch. Editing is easier than staring at a blank cursor, right? So it is still a quicker lift than just starting at zero. One of the other things I love AI for is I love to use the audio version. So it's very, very accessible. You can go out on a walk and you can be writing an email, dictating an email on a walk. I love this. It's so accessible. I don't have to be in front of my desk. I don't have to be in front of a Word document or whatever, my CRM, and going type, 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 type. I can just riff. Riffing is my favorite. Riffing could be your audience's favorite too, because we want to know the people behind the organization. So you're not adding a step, you're replacing the hardest one, which is that blank page. You already review grant proposals, board decks, staff work. This is no different. In fact, this is just a lot quicker in that review process. And email is still the number one tool that inspires donors to give, definitely above social media and wildly above your website. 5 minutes to go back and forth and really edit down a too overly AI'd email is totally worth it. And what you can do is if you are using AI a lot to write your emails, and maybe this is a little bit of a wake-up call where you're like, oh crap, have we been sounding a little too AI lately? Then you can come up with a really simple filter before you send. You can ask yourself, does this sound like us? Or does this sound like every other nonprofit in their inbox? Is there a specific moment here or summary language? Is everything just at a 10,000 foot view and it's not really going to resonate? Would I say this out loud to a donor I know? Those are really good filters. You don't have to go through 10 different filters, but that's the difference between AI helping you write faster and AI helping you raise more. Because you don't just want to write faster. Okay. So I'm thinking about my daughter. This reminds me of her. So we were talking to her teacher, and she was saying that one of the challenges they have with students, this is like just school system now how it is, tests are taken online. So they're using their Chromebooks to take tests, right? So I actually showed my kids a picture of a Scantron because they didn't know what a Scantron was, at least not in elementary school. And I was like, this is a Scantron. This is what we used to take tests with. So it was all very analog. And her teacher was saying that because tests are taken online, their brain can just breeze through it really quickly now. There isn't as much natural built-in pause where you're reading the question, you're sort of thinking about the question, and you're maybe writing on some scratch paper, and then you're filling out, A, B, C, or D on the Scantron. Instead, what are they doing? They could just fire off and click button, click button, click button. They're going to the next question very quickly. And so she says, I'm always reminding the students to slow down, to slow down. I was like, oh, that's so good. That's such a reminder. And that's kind of what we're talking about here is you don't want to just write faster for the sake of writing. Like, let me just put out more output. Now I've made more output. No, the quality matters as much as the quantity. The quality matters more than the quantity. You want to write emails that people feel because AI doesn't raise money, your message does. AI helps you get your message out faster. So that's the nuance. And this is why we have an entire section inside of my course, Easy Emails for Impact, on how to use AI well, what to look out for, what to not do, how to use it. And this is why we have templates inside the course too, because it is hard. It really is hard to stare at a blinking blank page where the cursor is like, what are you going to write today? So this idea of like, not just to use AI, just to use it more, but how to use it in a way that strengthens your message, pulls donors in instead of watering it down. That is a really big barrier for a lot of organizations right now, because when you get this right, you don't just write faster, you write emails that people feel, people respond to, people feel connected to. And that connection to your cause, that is how you build longevity for your organization, for your donors, for your retention, for your monthly giving, like all of the things we want. Easy Emails for Impact is opening up on May 7th. You're going to want to sign up for our webinar to get first access to our special bonuses and a big discount. We were opening up with 50% off the course. So go to splendidcourses.com/email to sign up for that webinar and get a first look at the discount and what comes with Easy Emails for Impact. Okay, so if you have questions about AI, if you're like, which one should I use? Send me an email, send me a LinkedIn message, and let me know what you've tried. Because actually, I'm going to share with you. I'm using two. I'm using two different AI sources right now. I'm using Chat and I'm using Claude, and I'm using them for different things, which this is our footnote for our podcast. This is me exploring and me going, I really know how to use Chat well. I'm hearing really great things about Claude. So I've been using Claude and I really like it as well. And they work for different uses. And really, isn't that true about a lot of things where you're like, I use this one software for when I have an auction and I use this software for general donations. And so you can kind of use it like that too. So if you have questions about AI, send me a message and I will see you in the next one. Bye.